My next guest on Live It Up is Eliot Lewis, who I first met when I got to interview John Oates from Hall and Oates. Welcome to the set, Eliot Lewis. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to see you again.
We had such a fun conversation.
Yeah.
You know, we were backstage, I guess, at Jones Beach, and they had some wonderful catering and everything, and we're having a little bite to eat. And I just kind of really vibed with you, I guess is what we could say.
We
yes,
did.
We did.
I
We
remember
vibed.
that. There's a lot of wind that night.
Exactly. Woo! It was windy. It was a windy night.
Yeah.
So you're known for your experiences with Hall and Oates, but also for the Average White Band.
Well, yeah, I spent actually the same amount of time that I've been in Hall and Oates, I spent in Average White Band, which is going on 13 years, believe it or not.
Wow.
So yeah, it was a big chunk of my life.
Now, how did you first become, known in the industry for your musicianship?
Well,
what was your first big important gig?
Okay, so my first big important break after, being in a lot of local bands, and then I realized, well, I've got to be a songwriter if I'm going to have this, longevity in this career. So I became a songwriter, I got a publishing deal. But my first sort of professional break was, well, two things really, working with Dan Hartman, who was a great producer who wrote a lot of hits, I Can Dream About You, Free Ride with Edgar Winter. He sort of took me under his wing, put me on a couple of big hits that he was producing for James Brown and Tina Turner. And then simultaneously, I got a publishing deal with Sony. And then almost simultaneously, right after that, I joined the Average White Band. So they had a lot going on at that point.
Now, did you audition for them, or did they know your work and they called you up and said, "Hey, yo, you want to play with us?" Yeah.
What happened was I was just a songwriting partner with one of the original members, and we were writing for about 4 years before they put the band back together again. They were broken up at this point, so when they reformed, I was sort of a member by default. Well, I had written all these songs with them, and they're like, "You're in the band," and all of a sudden I'm doing shows and touring with them.
You've mastered 4 instruments. What are they?
Well, drums is my first instrument.
Okay.
Then I went to bass, guitar, and keyboards. Okay. And I'm sort of now known sort of as a keyboard player on Live from Daryl's House and Hall and Oates, although I have my own career as a guitar player.
Right, and I got to see you, what was it, at the Cutting Room?
Yeah, exactly.
Where was that show? Yeah, that was a really fun show. So it's interesting. How do you find, do you have like just a van that you pack all your instruments in, and then
basically, yeah.
Like wherever you go, you're like, oh, I need a drummer tonight. You're like, okay, that's on the left side,
Well, the difference is, yes, on my own career I have a van, but with Hall and Oates there's like 5 semi-trucks and tour buses.
And how do you travel with your instrument that you play for them?
With Hall and Oates?
Yeah.
There's 6 in the band, and Daryl and John, and then probably 20 in the crew. So it's a fairly big operation. My own thing is much more scaled down.
And when do you have time to tour with your own thing? Because it seems like you're gigging all the time. Every time I go to your social media, you're all over the world. You're here, you're there, you're this, you're that. You just played Madison Square Garden. That must have been crazy fun.
That was a dream come true. I've literally been going there since I was 11 years old. And to me, that was always the pinnacle of everything that meant success in this business. So it was a real special night. But that's my biggest dilemma, and it's a good problem to have, is time management. Because I do all the Hall and Oates touring. I do all the Live from Daryl's House episodes. I've been on every episode from the beginning. And then when I'm not doing those 2 things, I'm putting my own shows out there. So it's a lot of juggling, but I love it. I really love it. Because being an artist and getting my own music out there was always my focus and always my dream.
And you're good. You're a good entertainer. That's what I really enjoyed about your show, is that you were very engaging with the audience. You played a variety of things, some songs that people knew, as well as your newest thing. Is it Evolution?
Yeah.
And so it's evolved. You've evolved, and I guess your music's evolved.
I think we all keep evolving, and we all should, I mean, for me, having worked with so many artists in my career now, I try to learn something from each of them. And no matter if it's the seasoned people that have been on the show, the Joe Walshes and Todd Rundgrens, or the new artists, I try to learn something from and evolve.
It's almost like you're having a relationship, and I mean this in a very respectful way, with the microphone.
Yeah.
And then you turn your attention to the audience.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I don't know, you do a good job.
Thank you.
You're fun to watch.
There's a lot of different ways to perform, and I love connecting with people. I really found it natural to sort of tell some stories and explain what this song means to me. And of course, when I'm doing a cover, like a song that I played with an artist on Live from Daryl's House, I want to kind of give the audience a little insight to what it was like doing that episode. So it's fun for me.
I know we're flip-flopping all over the place, but you shared a story when you were doing Live from Daryl's House that really touched you. You got invited to do something kind of cool. It was you played with somebody that you didn't think you'd get to play with, and it was a favorite of yours, and then they asked you to do the solo part.
Oh, that was probably the Billy Gibbons episode.
Okay, tell us about that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of special guitar players for me that influenced me growing up, my whole life. Jeff Beck being one of them, Billy Gibbons being the other. So when he was booked to do the show, I was very excited. But typically, I'm playing keyboards on the show. Once in a while, I'll play acoustic guitar, depends on the situation. But he brought along 2 keyboard players with him. So when he found out I played guitar, he was like, well, play guitar. And then when we got onto the episode and started working the songs out, he was like, so who wants to take a solo here? And he was like, Ellie, you want to take a solo? And I was like, yes, please, alongside one of my heroes. So it was very cool. That was very special. And there's been a bunch of moments like that.
Yeah, it's so fabulous. And you radiate such great energy. Tell us about some of the songs that are on your latest evolution.
You know, what I've been doing for a few years now is putting out an EP. So instead of waiting a year or two to put out or 2 years to put out a full-length CD, I put out an EP of 5 songs every year. It's called Evolution, and it's sort of a continuation and evolution of what I've been doing, trying to kind of redefine the sound that I really love, which is, you know, a bit of classic rock, a bit of soul, and then I have a fondness for instrumental music too. So there's always an instrumental or two that are ballads, balladish, because of my influence with Jeff Beck. So it's more of that.
Anytime that somebody wants to find out where you're going, what would be your website? Where can people find you?
EliotLewis.com.
Easy as that.
Easy as that, and all the social media, of course, I'm all over.
And what makes you happy in life? What's something that you just love
Exactly what
celebrating?
I'm doing.
Really?
Yeah, people ask me, my career, it's really unbelievable to me because I decided what I was going to do when I was 10, and I was lucky enough to, my life has evolved almost identical to what my little dream was as a 10-year-old, so I'm extremely happy. I love photography too. That's an outside passion of mine too, aside from music.
You doing like black and whites?
Yeah, I do a lot of black and white. In fact, I've done a lot of record covers for Daryl and John for Hall and Oates, a lot of their press stuff. Most people don't know about. I kind of keep it a little bit. It's a side thing.
Well, thanks for sharing that here with us. Now we're going to have to go look that up. So, and I know that you brought us something that we can enjoy, so let's take a look.
Eliot Lewis, member of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees Daryl Hall and John Oates, and the original featured musician on Live from Daryl's House, is bringing his own star-powered show to venues all over the country. Eliot's shows feature not only his own brand of guitar-driven rock and soul, but songs from the artists he's worked with, including Joe Walsh, ZZ Top, Train, Cheap Trick, Grace Potter, Jason Mraz, Darius Rucker, and many others. Lewis has performed at some of the world's most prestigious venues, including Madison Square Garden, Red Rocks, Hollywood Bowl, and Japan's Budokan. Now he's bringing his show to a smaller, intimate venue near you. Find out more at EliotLewis.com.
Thank you very, very much. And I'll definitely be at as many gigs as I possibly can of yours.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you again.
Yeah, you too, because I really do. I enjoy your music. And who knows, maybe I'll get up there and jam with you and whoever else you might have sometime. You never know.
Absolutely. Anything can happen.
Would that be? All right, so our guest has been Eliot Lewis. I'm Donna Drake. Thanks for watching. Live it up, trying to bring you great music and great things to share with your life.